won the lottery, then she moves to Hawaii. So what would we get if we switch the location of our if-then statement, and we're going to call it P and Q. So the first part of the sentence is our P. If Miss D wins the lottery, that's our P, then Q, she moves to Hawaii. Okay, well, what if we switch that around? If, what's that going to say? If Miss Dever moves to Hawaii, oops, I probably should have said Miss Dever. There we go. Miss Dever moves to Hawaii, then she must have won the lottery. So we're flipping it around. Now, sometimes it makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. So that's what we have to decide for different things in mathematics. If I have an if-then and I switch around and write the converse, would it make sense? So let's talk about the converse here. The converse of an if-then statement is formed when we reverse the location of the hypothesis and the conclusion. So we've got some science terms in there. So if she wins the lottery, that was our hypothesis. She moves to Hawaii is our conclusion. If P, then Q. So here's what we have. There was our if-then. There's our converse. Okay? Remember the if-then form of the Pythagorean theorem. So we said if we have a right triangle, what do you know? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So right now it says brainstorm with your partner, but I just want you to think on your own for a second. What would the converse of that if-then statement be? So let's talk about what would that be. So our guess for the converse of this would be what? So right now, pause the video and write your guess in that spot. Okay, so you should have something written here, and hopefully it's going to go with what you have right here. The converse of the Pythagorean theorem, it's page 466 in your book. If we know a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then the triangle is a right triangle. Okay, so get that in your memory banks, the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. If a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then the triangle is a right triangle. It may be a triangle, but it isn't a right triangle unless you started off with a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, is it true? Yes, it's absolutely true. So when you have the length of one leg squared plus the length of the other leg squared of your triangle, so here's my right triangle, here's my 90-degree angle. Okay, I have a leg and a leg. They make up the hypotenuse for the third side there. A leg squared plus a leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. When we've been working with that, we know that's true every single time. Not all converses are true. For example, remember Miss Dever moving to Hawaii? Would that be true each time? Well, just because she moves to Hawaii, is she going to win the lottery? Probably not. Okay, but for Pythagorean theorem, the converse is always true. Okay, your own if-then statement should be there. Decide which part was the P and which part was the Q. And now you're going to flip it around. Now write the converse of that if-then statement. And then you're going to decide if that converse was true, why or why not. So pause again, give yourself some time to do that. Okay, so you absolutely have your own if-then here in your own converse. But I wrote, if the dog, then it has four legs. In general, that is true. Now write the converse of that. My example was, if it has four legs, then it is a dog. Is that converse true? Absolutely not. There are lots of animals that have four legs that are not dogs. All right, so let's apply this to our triangle problems. So I have a triangle number 1. It has sides of 11, 60, and 61. So we're going to just do a little sketch here. Probably could be a lot bigger than that, but that'll be the general idea. 11's got to be the shortest, right? Where's the 60 going to go? Right here, and 61's the longest side, so it's the hypotenuse. And we're basically saying, is this a right triangle? So I'm putting a question mark in that little square there. So is a squared plus b squared equal to c squared? So you started off with the Pythagorean theorem. You plug in what you know. Okay, and then we are going to solve. So we have 121 here. We have 3,600 here, and 61 squared, I do not know. It is 37721. Okay, so you add 3,600 plus 121, and what is that? Hey, it's 3,721, 3,721. So yes, this is a right triangle. Now we need to say it because they're basically asking, is it? So yes, this is a right triangle. Okay, so now you're going to pause and you're going to do number 2 the same way. Sketch it, do your Pythagorean theorem, test it out. I probably should have had little question marks over here saying, hey, I'm testing this, and then, yep, it worked. If it doesn't work, then you would have a does not equal sign, and you would write, no, it's not a right triangle. So go ahead and pause and do that. All right, let's see how you did. You got your picture, question mark in the right angle. Remember, 17 is the hypotenuse, it's the longest side, so your other 2 are your legs. Doesn't matter if your picture looks the same as mine or not. Is a squared plus b squared equals c squared for a right triangle? Plug it in, work it out, and you get 169 does not equal 289, so it is not a right triangle. All right, so from here, you're going to continue on to your next page and follow the directions online. Nice work.